Right now, the political movement we were told was completely unified is in the middle of a public civil war, and it's all being triggered by one word: Iran. You've got major conservative figures openly attacking each other, and then Donald Trump steps in and takes a side. That's the moment this stops being media drama and starts becoming something much bigger, a fight over who controls the direction of American power. And here's why this matters. This isn't just noise. This is unfolding in the shadow of a possible war, with American troops already at risk and civilians abroad already paying the price. What we're seeing is a fracture at the top that leaves real human lives hanging in the balance. Because when the people shaping public opinion can't even agree on whether the US should be involved in another conflict, that instability doesn't stay on TV. It moves into policy, into decisions, into war zones. Look at what's happening behind the scenes. On one side, you have a push for aggressive interventionist policy, framed as strength, framed as loyalty, framed as necessity. On the other side, you have voices questioning why American lives should be tied to yet another foreign conflict. This isn't random. This is a power struggle over who defines America first. Does it mean avoiding war, or just choosing which war to fight? And here's the key moment most people are missing. Trump didn't stay neutral. He stepped in and backed one side. That tells you everything. Because when a political leader elevates one faction in a public feud like this, they're signaling which vision of foreign policy is winning internally. That's not just rhetoric, that's alignment. That's how wars become more likely, not less. But what nobody is telling you is that this isn't really about personalities. This is about a generational collapse of the old pro-war guard. Traditional media figures with older audiences are still operating under a worldview where intervention is normal, expected, even necessary. Meanwhile, a newer digital-first audience is far more skeptical. They're asking a simple question: why are we still doing this? That divide is dangerous, not just politically, but socially. Because the counter-narrative says this is just ego, just insults, just personalities clashing. But that explanation ignores what's actually at stake. These arguments are directly tied to whether people live or die, whether soldiers are deployed, whether civilians become collateral damage. When dissent gets labeled as disloyalty, it narrows the space for debate. And history shows that's when the worst decisions get made. And there's a human cost to that kind of rhetoric. When people are constantly branded as enemies or traitors for questioning war, it creates an environment where escalation feels justified, where violence feels easier to rationalize. Words set the stage long before actions follow. So what happens next? This fracture could reshape the movement, or it could be absorbed and neutralized. If the anti-war voices grow stronger, you could see real resistance to another conflict. If they don't, then this moment becomes just another step toward business as usual. The real question is whether this split actually changes anything, or if it's just the illusion of debate while the same decisions get made behind closed doors. So let me ask you this. Do you think this internal divide will actually stop another war, or is it all just political theater? Let me know in the comments. Because what happens next doesn't just define a movement, it defines what kind of country we're becoming.